Okay, hello everyone, whether you are watching through the live or the playback. I've clearly been struggling with StreamYard, but it's a give and take. You learn as you go. I've been doing it on Microsoft Edge the last few times, and that's what happened last week where I recorded the entire video on StreamYard. It showed that my mic was working, but then I looked into it and I realized when you share the screen, it doesn't really work, the audio on StreamYard when you use Microsoft Edge. So I decided, okay, I'm going to try Google Edge. Sorry, Google. Is it Google? No. Google Chrome. So that is what I'm using now. But just in case, I am literally recording the audio on Wondershare for more. So if what happened last week happens again, I could just download the visual and then put it on the audio on video share and everything will run smoothly. Let's just get to it. Okay, so last week I discussed the Big Brother collaborate. No, sorry. Last week I discussed the social strategy of the coaster, what it was, and then I went through a tier ranking to establish who out of everyone on Big Brother USA fit that strategy. So just for a quick recap, the coaster is essentially someone who has very little effect on the game and or they attach themselves to a strong player or an alliance and just ride that out without contributing much. So that was last week's video. This week's video is about the collaborator. So that's what I am going to be discussing today. And the definition of the collaborator is that it is a social strategy that involves a house guest attempting to join an alliance and help that alliance make it as far as possible into the game. The collaborator's goal is to keep his or her alliance intact while simultaneously not appearing as a threat or a leader. So I kind of feel like it is the goal of everyone to join an alliance and kind of ride that alliance to the end. So the definition isn't the most detailed, but I guess the difference between this and the coaster, and I do believe there's a lot of parallel with the collaborator and the coaster, because they're both just trying to ride the wave, stay on a very linear path to get to the end. And as I go through people, there'll be people who fit under the collaborator and the floater, or the coaster, my bad, strategy. And I guess the difference here is that the collaborators are a bit more active when it comes to playing the game, though they mainly want to stick with their side and to just write it out. And there's also additional commentary about them trying not to be as a threat or a leader, but as I go through the list, you'll see if that's really true. So, according to this piece, the house guests who have employed this strategy include Maggie Osborne from Big Brother 6, which I guess could be applicable, but I feel like everyone in the house knew that she was leader, so I don't know if I personally would end up putting her here. Mike Mellon from Big Brother 2, All Stars, and 14. Matt Hoffman and Hayden Moss from Big Brother 12. Shelley Poole from Big Brother 17. That one, I don't know. Tyler Crispin and Chris Williams, that is Swaggy, from Big Brother 20. I really don't know about that, especially with Swaggy. Jackson Mickey from Big Brother 21. That I don't feel very confident in. Memphis from Big Brother 22. Tiffany from Big Brother 23. That I kind of disagree with because I felt like everyone kind of knew she was a leader. And Taylor Hale from Big Brother 24. I'm kind of iffy on her just based on where I placed her last week, but maybe she will fit both. So I'm just going to go right to the tier list. So like I did last week, I am going to go through everyone from Big Brother USA and rank whether I feel like they are collaborators or not, or if they employed the strategy or not. Ugh, I'm going to have to move the 26 house guests up again. I'll do that at some point. So for the people who don't fit the category, so I'm going to, you know what, might as well move Big Brother 1 up there now. So either their season didn't really have any sort of strategy, or they didn't use the strategy. I'm going to put here, just because I don't want to have to scroll all the way down and move them all the way back up. As I'm going through the list, I kind of just want to go in order, pluck them up, pluck them down, and just have it very easy. These will be blank for now because I'm not doing anything with them. And I split it up into two subcategories. So the outright collaborators, or people, at least as I'm recording this, I feel like solely implemented this strategy. So I'm going to place them here. And the second sub-tier are for people who definitely use that strategy as well, but they also use other ones. So they're in the second tier. So that's kind of my goal. Don't mind me, I'm just going to move some of these up because I'm not going to go all the way down for Big Brother 26. I don't know why whomever made this tier list made it like that. It's really counterproductive. So I'm hoping that I could do this every week, which will take us into mid to late January. Maybe I'll do it twice a week if I'm really, really bored. And I still have the same notes that I took a while ago when I knew I was doing this. So I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to explain my rationale as to whether they fit this or not. I'm assuming this one's going to be a long one because I feel like most people, when they enter the Big Brother house, they try to use the strategy where they get into an alliance, and the initial goal for most people is to stay in that alliance until the very, very, very end, and hoping that they're at the top of that alliance to the point where they'll be taken to the end and they don't have to worry about flipping or being at the bottom of that alliance. So that's kind of the goal for most people, even if they don't realize that's what they're trying to do or they don't realize the name of that. So with Big Brother 2, I had really one name here, but I forgot another person. I'm going to talk about. Okay, so the one person I'm definitely moving up here is Mike Buggy from Big Brother 2. Obviously, he was HOH when Chilltown was formed, and he literally had the power in the house. And it was his goal to go to the end with Will and Shannon. I think Justin might have been a part of that alliance as well, as like an underling, but I'm not too sure. And even when things were going downhill for him, he was still very loyal to the Alliance. He rejected a deal with Hardy, which could have given him some more leeway in the game. And when he was nominated against Krista, he really just sat back and let himself go home. So he was a ride or die. He was plotting and strategizing with Will and Shannon. No one really saw him as the leader, but he was very heavy in there. Um, just looking at my notes, I forgot a person, and the person that I forgot is Kent, and I kind of feel like he and Mike Buggy are kind of two sides to the same coin, but they are just in opposite alliances. Where obviously Kent was a part of the top alliance, where they mainly formed because they didn't like Chilltown. Kent was very, very, very loyal to it, to the point where he did go after Mike Buggy when he was HOH, despite Mike Bookie really giving him flack and some saving him from the first week because people weren't impressed with Kent picking the car from a single mother. And with one mother in Autumn, let's see. And even when he was going downhill, he didn't realize that top wasn't a thing anymore, and he was so stuck on the old dynamics where he didn't realize that the house really flipped and no one really cared about top, to the point where on his final week he was arguing that him, Monica, Bunky, and Nicole need to stick together to take out Hardy and Krista, and he'll go gladly. Outside of that, he doesn't give a shit if he's at the bottom of the alliance. He didn't realize that the alliance really wasn't a thing anymore. Should I put Monkey? I guess I'll put Bunky in the Autumn here. But I put them in the coaster category, and I still do feel like they were mainly coasters, but Bunky was right there with Kent when it came to strategizing. They wanted Top to stick together, and Bunky was also behind on their dynamics when that happened. Autumn was a part of the top. No, I'm actually no. I'm gonna remove Autumn because she didn't care about appearing as a threat or not. I'm just going to move her there. Looking at this list, I feel like yeah, that kind of makes sense. I don't really feel like anyone else filled the role of a collaborator, so I'm just going to move everyone else into this category, and we're going to move right on to Big Brother 3. Okay, so looking at this, there are a few people who fit into this category, in my opinion, and that hold on, let me check my mic. I'm so worried about my mic ever since the last few videos. Anyways, yeah, I have a few names here. That is Eric, because he was really ride or die with that. I think they're at the Cartel Alliance. I'm not really too. Yeah, I think it was the Cartel Alliance or whatever that was formed throughout the first few weeks of the game. He was right there with Roddy, but no one saw him as the leader. He was really plotting for them to get to the end, and once that alliance was flipped on, he really couldn't adjust, and it caused him to go home. So he definitely fits there. Kiara, I guess, fits there as well. Since while she did have relationships with people like Jason and Danielle, she never really tried to actively work with them or use them to her advantage as much as she could have. Since she was still stuck on the cartel alliance, especially with working with the boys, and that ended up working against her because the dynamics moved on from that and she didn't really know how to adjust. So the final person that I have in this category is Jason. And obviously, we all know about his infamous duo with Danielle, where they really just dominated the season. They kept going back and forth with the strategy, so it was clear that Danielle was more active in the strategic element of the game, while Jason was definitely, I don't want to say the sidekick, but he was essentially the collaborator. He was the second in command, and he definitely took the easy way a lot of the times, and he didn't want to seem as too much of a threat, but I don't know how much he was actively trying to hide his threat level. Looking at the cast, I don't think anyone else really fits, so I'm just going to move them. Okay, so Big Brother 4, I think. Hold on, where did I put some of these people? Okay, so I have a few people on here. Obviously, I feel like the Three Stooges kind of represent this category more than anyone else. But I feel like these teachers had different roles in it. I feel like Justin was definitely the leader of the group, which literally the entire house saw from the very beginning, where Robert and G were kind of the underlings. I think I put Robert in the coaster category as well, so I'm gonna move Robert down here, where it definitely seemed like G was the second in command, where it was mainly him and Justin who were doing all the heavy strategic work. G was winning a lot of the competitions, but he had a better social game than the other two, so he wasn't really seen as the leader of the group. I guess I could put Justin in this category, but I'm really not going to. Uh, I think I'll put David in this category as well. Because on my jot note list, I had him as a leader, but I don't think he was mainly a leader. I think he was definitely a second in command towards what was happening in the house. He was strategizing a lot with Jack and Erica throughout the season, but he wasn't seen as a coaster because he was more active with forming relationships and going to people and making deals and stuff like that. So that's why I have David here. He wouldn't have been in a position to coast like a Jack or an Erica. A part of me was thinking of putting Nathan in this part, but I decided against it. Should I put no? Because Jack and Erica weren't trying to seem like they weren't threats. I don't really know, but they were strategizing. Ugh, I guess I could put Jack and Erica there, but I do feel like they are mainly coasters. But yeah, they wanted their alliance to go to the very end. They definitely hid behind some of the bigger threats on their team, like a Nathan and a David and whatnot. So I guess they fit this, though I do feel like they're more coasters than anything else. And I've delved into the reason why on the last video. So we're moving on to Big Brother 5. Who do we have here? I don't think I have many people from I don't think I have many people from Big Brother 5 on this category. So the one person that I am... What is happening here? Okay. So Natalie, I'm definitely putting in this category because one, I didn't really know where else to put her. Two, obviously she's going to work very much with her twin sister Adria, where they're going to strategize together. They're going to implicitly trust one another, and whatever Adria did, Natalie knew about and supported. So Natalie being in this category makes absolute sense in my opinion. Another person that I have here is... Where is she? Laurie. Because she was close with the Pinky side of the house, she was seen as one of the co-leaders, but she really wasn't the leader, especially because she wasn't the most strategic person on there. Obviously, she strategized a lot with Karen and Will, and to a certain extent, Nicomas and Diane, but she really wasn't seen as a leader, and she didn't really fit anywhere else. So I felt like this would be the best place to put her. I was thinking about putting a Scott or a... Maybe I could put... Yeah, maybe actually, yeah. I think Drew definitely... Mm. Drew is someone that I am struggling with because he was loyal to the Four Horsemen for the first few weeks of the seasons, but he did eventually flip. Then he was loyal to the likes of Diane, but then he flipped on her as well. So I don't know if he actually really fits the collaborator. Um, can I put my Kimis there? Where do I have the comments? Oh, but I feel like people kind of saw her as a leader as well, so I can't really put her there. I guess I'll put Drew uh, in the second category because he did went out of his way to appear non-threatening. And I think that definitely worked for him. On Big Brother 6, let's see. Oh, sorry, let me move people from Big Brother 5. Big Brother 6 is an interesting one because there are obviously two sides of the house that were formed, and the wiki article that I mentioned had Maggie on it, but I don't know if I really agree because the entire house knew that Maggie was leading that other side, so I don't know if she really fits the core essence of what a collaborator is. But she did want to go more under the radar, though she kind of failed at that, so I guess I'll put her in the underling of that category. I think the person who represents this more is like an April, and who else do they have here? And Rachel. Neither one of them were like the hardcore leaders of their alliance, but they were some of the stronger players on that other side, and they were working very, very, very hard to get to that side of the house, or to get their side of the house to the very end, but they didn't really implement other strategies. Just looking at this list, maybe I could put, because I feel like the house was so loyal. Actually, yeah, Jennifer kind of fits there too, though I had her in another category as well. She literally sacrificed her spot in the gang to take out Kaser when she wasn't a target at all, so her alliance could thrive, and she knew what she was doing, so Jennifer fits that category as well. Where did I have Yvette? Ah, I guess a lot of people fit this category just due to how strong the sides of the house were, but they weren't strong collaborators. So I'm kind of gonna put them in the underling. Yeah, I'll put them here. Because the people that I'm putting here, they were loyal to their sides of the house, but they had more strategy that involved something that doesn't involve the collaborator. Ugh, I guess I could put Howie there too. I don't know, but he wasn't. Actually, no, he was still trying to go under the radar, so no. I don't feel like Yvette was either. Uh, Yvette was very loud, but she wasn't trying to threaten people with her power. I guess that's fine. We'll move on. Oh, I forgot. Due to the fact that there's only one icon per player, the returning players, I'm going to have to reuse their old ones. So that kind of sucks. Um, who do we have for Big Brother 7? Okay, yeah. Howie definitely implemented more of the collaborator strategy in All Stars than Big Brother 6. Because he wasn't trying to like threaten people with his power, he was ride or die with his alliance. He didn't really make any other relationships, so he fits there. And I really have Mike Bucky here. Same thing he did in Big Brother 2, essentially the same thing in Big Brother 7. He was very, very, very loyal to Will, but obviously stabbed everyone else in the back. But he was the second hand man for Will, and he even contributed his own towards their success in the game. Looking at who else was on the cast, I really don't feel like anyone else fit that category. So that's who I have for the classic era, Big Brother 2 to 7. And we're going to move on to Big Brother 8. Let me flip my paper over. Yeah. Okay, so I have a few names here on my list, but I'm going to add a few more just from looking at the people here. Mike, that's literally took the fall for his alliance with the stupid video move. He was very loyal to the. It was the Mr. and Mrs. Smith alliance. I think it's the Mr. and Mrs. Robertson's alliance. That was the alliance he was loyal to, and he fell with it, so he makes sense to put there. I kind of have Danielle in that. Does she really fit there? No, because she was trying to be under the radar. Uh, I do feel like Danielle was the right hand woman to with her father regarding their strategic dynamics of the season, to the point where everyone saw him as leader and kind of her as the follower. But she is too much of a comp beast and too bold out there to really fully implement this strategy, so that's why I'm putting her there. I think other people that I'm going to put there are the likes of really have to of Dustin and Amber, Jamaica, and Jessica. Obviously, they're loyal to that late night Jamboree alliance. None of them are really seen as the leaders of that alliance at all. But I felt like they had other strategies that I am going to get into over the next few weeks. Many of them fits the gamer strategy where there's that entitlement there where they felt like they were the good people and how they should play involves the good people and all that stupid rhetoric. So that's what I have for Big Brother 8. I have a lot of people for Big Brother 9 there, but before we do that, I'm going to move the rest of the Big Brother 8 cast out of the way. But yeah, I definitely have a decent amount of people for Big Brother 9. I think more than anyone thus far on the list. Uh, yeah, most of the people I have on here are no, I want to say all of them are the earlier boots, but I definitely have quite a few. So Alex and Parker, I'm moving up there. Despite them being early boots, they were heavy into their alliance. And Alex specifically, he was kind of like the Robin to Matt's Batman, and Parker was kind of in with them as well, despite Alex making his dumbass move with nominating Parker and Jen. I do feel like Chelsea fit in that as well, since obviously she was seen as the leader of the alliance, because I feel like that's what James was, which is why they targeted him first so much out of anyone on the other side. But she was right there with him when it comes to the strategizing and whatnot. And what I said about Chelsea kind of fits with Joshua, but I'm going to put him in a different tier. Ryan definitely implements the strategy whatsoever because he was literally the Robin to Adam's Batman. He screwed up his in-game due to wanting to go to the end with Adam, where it really ruined his chances. Josh, I'm putting in this category because he fits the loudmouth strategy, and I'm going to get more into what that is in a few weeks. Big Brother 10 is another season that has a lot of collaborators, which kind of makes sense because a lot of them chose a side. They really wanted to stick with it. There really weren't many, if any, floaters or coasters on that season. Let me get No, I don't think Natalie fits that at all, so I'm just gonna. Actually, yes. Sharon is a very good example of the collaborator as well, because she talked all about being under the radar, wanting to hide behind other people, but she was active in her alliance and she was loyal to her alliance, but she definitely wanted to appear less threatening, so it's very intentional on her part. So with Big Brother 10, I have a few people. Let's see. A lot of people under coasters. Some of those I might move up to the collaborator. Michelle's definitely a ride or die collaborator. She was loyal to her alliance with Jesse, Angie, and Memphis. She wasn't the leader in that group at all, but she was a very strong competitor and she was one of the stronger people there. Though she really wasn't trying to be under the radar. Michelle couldn't be under the radar if her life depended on it. Uh, Keisha kind of fit that as well. She's kind of the second in demand, but she also was someone who wasn't under the radar. You could say that she fit the leader. Memphis fits that to a T. He definitely did want to go under the radar, especially for the first part of the season, and he was seen as the Robin to Dan's Batman. I guess Ollie, I'll put. Mm, should I put Ollie there, or should I put him? Ollie tried to game with his alliance, but they didn't really take much of what he said seriously, and he was mainly a yes person. I feel like Keisha was too much of a leader to fully fit in the collaborator category, or the outright collaborator category, and Ollie was a bit too much of a coaster, though he had elements of this. Big Brother 11, I really don't have many people from here. Yeah, no. I only have, oh, sorry, let me remove the people from 10. I really only have two people from Big Brother 11, in my opinion, at least. What the fuck did I just do? Okay. Obviously, Big Brother 11 had a very split house, and while the alliances weren't rigid, I don't feel like the people in each alliance were as equal contributors to said alliance. So for Big Brother 11, I definitely put Laura in that category because she was definitely one of the main strategic people on there, but she wasn't the outright leader. So her being a collaborator makes sense, and she fell with her team as well. And due to her bad play, she really wasn't under the radar, hence her being taken out second. And Natalie definitely fit this as well. She was the right hand woman to both Jesse and Timur, who are more so leaders within that side of the house. Though they respected her contributions, I felt like a part of her did intentionally play under the radar, and I think that's where her lie of supposedly being 18 came into play. That was an intentional ploy on her part. So, and for Natalie, I don't really know if anyone else really fits there. Jordan, I still see as a coaster. She wasn't trying to play under the radar. That's just who she was. Jeff definitely does fit. Neither does Shima. I don't think Casey contributed enough to be a collaborator. I think it's pretty low on the totem pole there. Maybe a Michelle. I might put Michelle there, but I don't really feel like they took her seriously enough, and she really wasn't under the radar. Actually, yeah, no, I'm not considering anyone else from 11. Moving on to 12. So this had hate. The interesting thing with the brigade is that there really wasn't an outright leader, though I think some of them employed elements of being a leader. Let's see. Hayden and Matt Hoffman were mentioned on the article, though on the wiki piece, though I really don't feel like they employed this. Instead, they were really under the radar. Maybe Hayden tried a bit more, but became a bit too out there at the end, and Matt certainly was not under the radar at all. And he came off as more of a leader, especially even in his diary. She's kind of portraying him as that. Lane and Enzo kind of fit in there. Both had their moments where they're trying to play under the radar, though they're both equally contributing members towards the Brigade Alliance, so I'm moving them up here. I don't really think anyone else fits throughout the season. I was thinking about putting Brittany, but who was she loyal to? Like, what main alliance was she really attached to that she was the second in command to? So I didn't really put her there. Uh, Rachel and Brittany were too out there. Yeah, I don't really feel like anyone else really. Hold on. Yeah, put them there. That makes sense. I don't really feel like anyone else from Big Brother 12 falls into the category. So we're going to move on. And obviously, with Big Brother 13, there's a dynamic with the veterans and the newbies that caused things to stand out a bit more when it comes to who's where and who's not somewhere. Ironically enough, I do feel like it was mainly the people from this season that I have in that category are the rookies, since I feel like the veterans were way too out there to be collaborators. So people like Brendan, Danielle, Jordan, not Jordan, Jeff and Rachel, and obviously Jordan I have as a coaster, and that ain't changing. So the three people that I put, let me shorten this. So the three people that I have in that tier are Cassie, Dominic, and Kalia. Kalia, for the first few weeks, was trying to play under the radar. That was a very intentional strategy of hers. She was trying to somewhat kiss up to the veterans so they could leave her alone. But she was obviously mainly loyal to Danielle. And then once it was mainly those two, she was the second in command with that dynamic. She was working equally with Danielle despite the perception. She wasn't relying on Danielle's coattails, and she was heavily strategic, and she was doing everything she can to move her side of the house along. Dominic and Cassie essentially were this for the Regulators Alliance. They weren't seen as leaders compared to a Keith. They were strategizing and coming up with a way so that alliance can make it to the very end. Obviously, that failed because they were both very early boots in the season. No one else from the season really fit, in my opinion. So we're going to move them here. So essentially, what I said with Big Brother 13 regarding the rookies or the newbies, I feel the same way about Big Brother 14, where none of the vets fits the collaborator strategy due to how out there they were and the other strategies that they used. And I only have three people on this category. And they are Danielle, Shane, and Ian. So obviously they're all a part of the Quack Pack Alliance, though Danielle and Shane knew that that really wasn't a real alliance, but they would use it whenever it convenienced them to get to the end. Shane was loyal to that side of the house, though it was mainly to Brittany, Dan, and Danielle. He was winning competitions and HOHs to make moves for them instead of himself, where if he made moves for himself, he could have and probably should have made different moves, but he knew that he was giving up his power to benefit his alliance over himself. And Danielle was kind of the same way. She was very loyal to Dan and made all of the moves for him, even though they weren't in her best interest, and she knew that deep down. Ian was trying his very best to go to the end with the Quack Pack Alliance, even though they were targeting him, though he didn't even know that they were targeting him. Part of that is why I'm putting him in the second group, because he wasn't an outright collaborator, because he wasn't under the radar enough to fit that fully. Actually, no. But he wasn't seen as a leader either, so I guess him being up there makes sense. I already moved everyone else from Brother 14. And now we're getting to the end of the post-classic era with Big Brother 15. And I feel like I have a decent amount of people in this category. Howard, I have in this category because he was loyal to the moving company. He wasn't seen as the leader at all, but he was definitely making moves to get them to the end. And when that blew up, he didn't really know how to adjust. Candace kind of fits that as well. She was loyal to that side of the house or the other side of the house, but she wasn't a high tier member of that group as well for them to really take her seriously. I guess I'll put her there. Um, Pretty much what I said about Jesse fits with Candace. They are making moves to benefit themselves in the game. They're trying to get to the end with that alliance until they realize that the alliance had them too low on the totem pole. Alyssa definitely fits this as well. She wasn't a competition beast or an outright gamer or leader like her sister or heck, even her brother in law was. She was definitely this right hand woman to whatever Helen did, and she definitely made moves or assist Helen in her moves, even though they were pretty deceitful. So Alyssa fits there. And Judd kind of fits there as well. He was loyal to whatever alliance he was a part of, even when he was the lone man on the totem pole, which he never really realized. He was trying to go under the radar and let his social game do the work, but it didn't really work out to the best of its ability. So that is it for the post-classic era. When it comes to Big Brother 16, there really isn't many people that I have on this category, and one of the reasons why is due to the fact that one alliance steamrolled a house, but it was one of those seasons where the other side wasn't an other side because they didn't realize that there was a large alliance, and all of the people were assuming that they were working with the people in the big alliance. So that is why I really only have Caleb and Cody in those categories. Caleb made every single move possible to get his alliance to the end, even though the moves themselves were bad for him, like taking out Frankie and just doing other stuff. He was essentially kept around because he was a meaty puppet for the people he was working with to use. And we all know about Cody. He took Derek to the end because he wanted the two of them to be a marketable final two. He made every move he could to get his alliance to the end, like targeting Donnie, even though Donnie wanted to work with him, and he could have given himself more opportunities. He also let people like Amber and Brittany go when they wanted to work with him, but he was very loyal to his alliance, so that's where he was focusing on. Big Brother 17, I have a few people from Big Brother 17 that I'm going to put on there. Um, Obviously, there are two sides of the house on that season, though it took the second side of the house half the season to realize that there are two sides of the house. But I have three people, or at least three people that I wrote on my notes. I'm probably going to add some more. So one of the people that I have on there is Devon, and I feel like she's only there because she didn't have much time to do anything else. She really wasn't manipulating people like how she would be on her future seasons. She made an alliance. She was one of the people who was working their best to bring it to the end. But I don't know. Actually, no, I don't think she falls in that outright category because she was seen as leader of the alliance, though she really wasn't. Um, she was kind of working alongside other people, but I feel like she mainly fits here because she wasn't around long enough. Jason is also kind of like Davon in that sense, where he was the right hand man to whomever was in power, whether it was James, Davon, or Jeff, or whomever else. He was never the outright leader, but once they went early, all of them but James, there's really no one else for them to hit but Jason. But his goal was to get his alliance to the end. I put Clay there because he had all the social capital to really let his social game do to work. He could have floated if he wanted to, but he chose a side, which was the level 6 side, and rode with it to the very, very, very end, to his own detriment, in my opinion. I didn't have Shelly on the notes that I took on it, but based on what was put on the social strategy, it makes sense that Shelly would be here, and she wasn't seen as the outright leader, so I guess her being there makes sense. Looking at everyone else on the cast, I don't feel like any of them really ugh. Actually, no, I could put the twins there. Actually, no. Put Liz there because she made every HOH. Sorry, every HOH she had, she made for the move of her alliance, even though it might not have even been the best move for her. She was kind of just being led to do whatever, but I put her in the second tier because she has elements of a coaster that I am sticking with. So let's move the 17 people out of the way. Brick Brother 18. Hold on. I have a decent amount of people on Big Brother 18, so this will be interesting. Uh, okay. So for Big Brother 18, I had Bronte here, and that makes sense because she was one of the more active people on the newbie side of the house, and even with the Spike Girls, she was never seen as the outright leader, but she was definitely strategizing a lot with them, and she felt on the sword with the alliance or that side of the house. So Bronte being there makes sense. Honestly, with Bridget, I put her in the collaborator tier, but I didn't really know where else to put her. But when you look at it, it makes sense. She was one of the right-hand women in the Spike Girls Alliance, and when she was working with Frank, she was the main collaborator and the assistant to him, where she used her HOH to make moves that were in his benefit instead of hers, where he knew that he was actively manipulating her. I guess, yeah, Natalie wasn't much of a leader. I don't know, I feel like there are elements of Natalie being a leader as well. But I'll put her here because she could fit under both. I don't think there was a sole leader in the Spy Girls Alliance, and while some make it, or the dynamics could make it look like she was being led by James, he wasn't doing shit strategically, really, and it was her coming up with a lot of the plans, but she's kind of there. Um, Corey is definitely someone that I see as a collaborator. He was the right hand man to Polly for the entire time Polly was in the game. Everyone knew that Polly was the leader and Corey wasn't, and Corey intentionally did go under the radar as well. And he kind of had that dynamic with Nicole as well. So putting her there, putting him there makes sense. I was thinking about putting Victor in the category as well, but he was too out there for me to feel like he was a collaborator. And I felt like he had other elements as well. Or he is more too much of a gamer for me to put in the collaborator. And when you think about it, it's Paul telling him what to do every single time. 19. I don't like thinking about this season. Okay. Yeah, so I have a few. I only have like 3 people from Big Brother 19 in this category. Obviously, this cast suffers when it comes to the strategy in the same way that Big Brother 16 did, because there's a lot of people in one alliance, and the quote unquote other side didn't really realize that they were on the other side for a lot of it. But the people I have here are Jason, Alex, and Christmas. Obviously, Jason and Alex were fighting very, very, very hard to get themselves and Paul to the end. And obviously, there are followers of Paul. What makes them stand out compared to a Matt or a Raven is that they're a lot more active in the game. And that's also due to them winning competition. So they had to make moves with their HOH. They had to either use the Vita or not use the Vita. They had to actively send people home. So they are more involved in the game just due to that compared to Matt and Raven, who are literally just coasting. And Christmas also falls into this category, in my opinion. And she fits there for both seasons, but for this season, it was her goal to go to the end with Josh and Paul. She made active moves and she was very active strategically so she could get that result. We saw this when she was campaigning heavily for Josh during Jessica's HOH, where she was one of the people with Paul who said Josh is staying when other people in the cult were more than willing to let Josh go at that point. So that is it for Big Brother 19, and then I'm going to get my notes, or to flip my notepad to see who I have for Big Brother 20. Big Brother 19 is just such a waste season strategically. Most of them didn't do damn near shit, which makes it so frustrating looking over them. Okay, so I think there's a few people that fit it under Big Brother 20, which makes sense. because there are two sides of each alliance. There are two sides of the house. Um, what was interesting with that is that they had Tyler and Chris on the wiki article, and I didn't really agree with Tyler, but when you think about it, it kind of makes sense why he would be there, because he was actively trying to make it seem like he was this doe-eyed boy who's being told what to do. But he was the leader of that alliance. He was controlling that alliance full force. He was literally carrying them strategically. So while he fits some elements of the collaborator strategy, I'm going to put him in the second tier of the collaborator. Swaggy, I don't think was a collaborator whatsoever. He was way too much in the forefront. He was way too much of a leader regarding what he told people and from what people perceived anyways to be in that category. The people that I put there, I have a decent amount of people actually. Um so I have Rockstar, I have Haley, and I have Brett and Angela. Where the hell is he? I have Brett and Angela. Um I'm kind of confused. Not confused. It's debatable as to whether I could put Casey there or not. Where did I put her? Yeah, I put Casey in the second ring there. She was intending on being under the radar for the first half of the season, and she accomplished that for sure. But she won competitions throughout the second half of the season. Angela, definitely fits here as well because it's her goal to go to the end with her alliance. She made moves that wasn't even her idea. It wasn't her initial idea to target Bailey, despite what the episode portrayed. But I feel like she was a bit too out there to be a full-on collaborator, so I'll put her there. Brett wasn't under the radar either, but he was making moves for his alliance as well. I don't know where else I would have him though. But yeah, actually no, Brett kind of does fit because he is taking information from the other side and giving it to the leftover so he could benefit them. Uh, should I move Angela up or not? No, no. Rockstar and Haley make sense. Neither one of them were the leaders on the Fate side of the house. They could have been the leaders of the Fate or the Hive side of the house, but they really just didn't want to. They kind of fumbled their bag, though they were always heavily strategizing with one another, with Swaggy, with Bailey, with the latter two being more so leaders in that group. So putting them here makes sense. The Big Brother 21. Jackson on the list, I don't agree with that at all. Jackson was never under their radar, and while he was trying to work to getting one of his, he was trying to get his alliances to the end. One, he flipped on his first alliance because he couldn't take Christy and their two alpha personalities, who were two leaders who didn't want to lead the same way. And then once the whole alliance with Holly, Nicole, and Cliff was formed, he was the leader of that alliance, so he really doesn't make sense to be put there. I get, Sam kind of makes sense to put there because he was with. Oh, let me move these people. Anyways, Sam does kind of make sense because he was loyal to the Tom. What the fuck? Not Tom. My Big Brother 20 was so forgettable. The Nick and the Isabella side of the house. He was never seen as the leader of that group. He was literally the pawn that went home, and he went home because Nick won the veto. So Sam, I'm putting there. Tommy is definitely a collaborator, in my opinion. He was never seen as the leader of the group, um, because he really wasn't leader of the group. It was Christy, Jackson, and even kind of Jack, in my opinion. He went out of his way to go under the radar, and it was the main goal to keep his alliance together, to the point where he didn't really know how to adapt when the dynamics moved on from the 6 and the 8. He was so insistent on keeping them together. So even when he won the HOH after that, he couldn't adapt, and he was trying to force them to get back together as well. Nicole and Holly's kind of the same thing. They were the right wing to their potential, to the prospective partners. They wanted the alliances to go to the end. I do feel like Holly implemented another. Actually, no, she wasn't really under. Ugh. I was thinking Holly was under the radar, but she really wasn't, especially in the second half of the career. Uh, yeah, I guess all of them are hardcore collaborators. I'm not gonna delve too much into it. Great Brother 22. So I definitely have a decent amount of people here. Tyler, I am moving up because he really wasn't the leader on the. What the fuck is that it's called again? That Grateful. Ugh, undeniable. What the fuck is that alliance called? Oh, the committee. Tyler wasn't the leader of the committee alliance, and then he had this huge meltdown, and then once that happened, he stuck even closer to their asses. So he kind of fits there. He did have his moments of strategizing, but he wasn't the leader. I already have Memphis. Do I have him there? I already have Memphis there. I don't really need to explain it. He formed the alliance, but he wasn't seen as the leader of it. And he essentially got usurped regarding the dynamics of the alliance. Christmas, what I said about her in Big Brother 19 fits in Big Brother 22. She wanted to go to the end with her people. She made the move in targeting Bailey and Davon, which wasn't even necessary for her gang to do, but she did because she wanted to stick to her alliance. Right. Nicole Franzel is someone that I felt like felt fit this category, especially on 22, because her main intention was going to the end with Cody. She made every single move she could to go to the end with Cody, even throwing Danielle under the bus several times. She threw Davon under the bus when Davon wanted to work with her that season. I already have. Do I have Enzo there? Let me see. I have Enzo there. Pretty much the same strategy he used on Big Brother 12, he used on Big Brother 22. So that makes sense. So I don't have Tiffany in the collaborator tier like the wiki article mentioned because she was way too out there as a leader and everyone kind of knew that. Even the likes of Claire and Derek X wouldn't have taken her to the end because she was so out there. And she was leading Claire on what's and yeah, she was even leading the X on what to do strategically, so I don't feel like she fits that category at all. Let me move. So who do we have from Big Brother 23? We are done with the post. We're done with the modern era, and now we're in the diversity era. Okay, so I have three people. So I have Claire. She was definitely the right hand woman to Tiffany. She wanted to go as far as she could with Tiffany, though she was planning on cutting her. I think she would have rather went to the end with Derek X or whatever. But she was very loyal. She was the right hand woman. She was doing more strategizing with Tiffany than Tiffany was doing with her own alliance. I feel like Alyssa kind of fits that as well. She was strategizing a lot with Xavier and with Christian. And she was more active than a Christian and Xavier at several points throughout the season. And she was really fighting for them to make it to the end, even when she didn't have the numbers. And Hannah is also someone that I feel like fits there too. She fought really, really, really hard to get the cookout to the end. She even used her HOH to take out Alyssa, which was not in Hannah's best interest. She threw Derek X under the bus way too quickly, but she was doing that for the alliance. She wasn't really making any moves for herself. And I think she might have been one of the only people who would have taken Tiffany to the end. Just looking at everyone else, no one else from the season really fits that category, in my opinion. Let me do this. No. On to Big Brother 24. I have three names here that I immediately knew I was going to put on here. Daniel's definitely one of them. He wasn't the leader of his alliance. I feel like more people saw Nicole as the leader, hence why they didn't target him first. And even during his HOH, the dynamics were formed around him. Jasmine definitely was the right hand woman to the Paloma and the Amira side of the house for those first few weeks. She was strategizing a lot with them. While she wasn't the main person in the alliance, she was doing a lot of work there. And even when the dynamics within that alliance fell apart and she was on the outside, Jasmine was doing her best to strategize. She was trying to be under the radar. And she was still making a lot of moves, though they weren't that successful. And the final person that I had on my actual list is Joseph. I feel like he fits this a lot more than some of the other people that were mentioned from the season on that wiki piece. Joseph made literally every single move he could for the leftovers. He was pretending to be aligned with the other side, though he should have actually floated, but he pretended to be aligned with them so he could rat them out to give them all the to give all the information to the leftovers when it wasn't benefiting him. He was lower on the totem pole in the alliance than he realized. He didn't realize that his alliance was out to get him, so he was fighting so hard for an alliance that he wanted to go to the very, very end with that he didn't even realize didn't feel the same way about him. And I feel like he was definitely like the second or the third in command when it came to the formation of the leftovers and all the strategy that was happening there. Um, it mentioned Taylor. I kind of don't feel that way. I don't even know if she was trying to go under the radar. I think that was something that just kind of happened. One, she didn't go under the radar because she wasn't under the radar. She was still a target. She still had coastal elements, but I guess I can see why some people put her in the collaborator point of view. So I guess I'll put her there, but I'll put her in the second grouping because I still don't feel like she's a full-on collaborator. No. I was thinking about putting Monty there because at least in the beginning he was Cal's right-hand man, but once the leftovers formed, he kind of took a backseat. And then once that blew up and Cal went home, Monty became the leader, so I guess I'll just leave him off for now. Uh, I, Melissa showed elements of being a collaborator as well. She's the right-hand woman towards Amir and Paloma for those first few weeks. Pretty much the same thing that Jasmine was, but she did coach for a lot of the season as a result of Kyle. So, where did I put Brittany? No, I was thinking about putting Brittany there, but she wasn't loyal to the leftovers. She was doing a lot of snake stuff as well. Yeah, I'm not gonna put her there. Music people. No, I was thinking about putting Turner there, but literally he flipped on his alliance a few times, and he was still more of a coaster. He won the HOH, but he didn't really contribute much strategically, and he still was a coaster. Yeah, no, I'm not putting him there. I don't feel like it. So we have two more seasons with Big Brother 25 and Big Brother 26. Just looking at this list, I see a few collaborators. Felicia is definitely one that I feel like is there because she was doing so much work to keep her side of the alliance together, but she wasn't seen as the leader like an Izzy or a Sari was. I can, I guess I could put Izzy there, but she would be under the second iteration of it because I had her in another tier. She had more snake-like tendencies, and she used that to influence her game, so I'll put her down below. Uh, maybe Blue is someone I don't know. Does Blue even fit there? I have her as a collaborator, but I don't know if she actively fits there. She did game a lot. She talked a lot of game with people. She made moves, or she tried to make moves, though they weren't the most successful. I guess she fits. Uh, Matt's someone that definitely fits there as well because he was the second. Sorry, my throat's dry. He was the second in command. In command, he was the second in command, not command. He was the second in command to Saray for several portions of the season, and then with Jake throughout the latter portion of the season. So he definitely fits as well. Uh, America, mm, she was. I don't know. a part of me had her as a collaborator because she was the second in command to Corey. She kind of was a part of that drag group, but not really. She was thinking about targeting them. I have no idea where to put her. I think I'll put her in the second grouping. I'm not too sure about her. Yeah, I guess I'll put her here. Simply put, I don't have anywhere else to put her. I don't think she fits anywhere else. We're an out, we're in. Let me get rid of these people. And then we have one more season in Big Brother 26. And I think there were a few people who fit here. One thing that I will say is, or at least regarding last week's video, I regret not putting Cameron as a co-star. But I'm really, 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 really thinking about it. Yeah, he definitely fits into the co-star category as well. But for here, I do think he fits elements of the collaborator as well because he was strategizing quite a bit with Chelsea and Cedric, at least during the beginning of the season. And then once it was him, Mackenzie, and Chelsea, he was strategizing, but nowhere near as much. And then he took a lackadaisical backseat approach through a lot of the season as well, which is why he had coastal elements. I regret not putting him on there. When I'm looking at the list, I only have two other people that I'm putting on there. Wait, hold on. Actually, no, I have a few other people. Brooklyn and Cedric are literally they're not kingpins, but they're like the knights to Chelsea's king and queen. Cedric and Brooklyn did the most strategizing with Chelsea during the time that they were in the house. They were her biggest confidants. They were really making a lot of the moves and contributing to that alliance. I don't really remember the name of the alliance right now. Was it the collective? Yeah, I think it's the collective. It's those three who were making a lot of the moves for the collective. And obviously things flipped on them and they couldn't really adapt. Brooklyn was trying to be under the radar in the beginning, but that failed. And I think Cedric was also trying to be under the radar as well. But then I think him winning the H8 kind of cursed him since he didn't know what to do with it. The only other person that I'm putting here is Mackenzie, but she's in the second tier of the collaborator because she's too much of a competition beast for me to solely put her as here. And hell, she was even a part of an alliance for like 50 to 60% of the game. But when you think about it, in the second half of the game, it was she and Chelsea who was doing all the strategizing together. She kind of took Brooklyn and Cedric's place with Chelsea, so I guess it makes sense for me to put her there. No one else from the season really fits that, in my opinion. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in, and these are the collaborators. These are the people who I have on that tier ranking. Looking at it, it makes sense to me. Um, I don't think I'll regret putting some people here or not putting certain people here. I'm going to screenshot it and then I'm going to post it under my community tabs for people who missed the live. And oh, I have so many things. I'm glad this was around an hour, just like the last one was. And the last one was edited due to obviously the audio issue and then me having to record a bunch of audio. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm going to try to do this every Friday at 7 for the next 6 weeks. The other strategies are the floater strategy, which will be next week, the gamer strategy, the leader strategy, the laddermouth strategy, the snake strategy, and the under the radar strategy. I'm going to be honest, there's less people in most of these other categories compared to the Collaborator category and the Coaster category, so the videos will most likely be shorter, but I might just over-explain some of the strategies that has less people in it and explain more in depth with those people. So I don't know if those videos will end up being smaller. If I feel like it, I might do this twice a week just to get it out of the way quicker. If there are audio issues, which there very well could be because my luck with StreamYard has not been good, I'm going to download the video and I'm recording additional audio on Wondershare for more. So if there are audio issues, I will download the video, I will place it on Wondershare with the audio that I'm currently recording alongside this, and then I'll just re-upload it there, and I don't have to do a bunch of editing. But I'm going to download the video or this live to see if there are any sound issues. If there's not any sound issues, then we really have nothing to worry about. If there are sound issues, I'll download it. I will obviously add additional audio, the audio that I recorded, and then I'll add timestamps once I re-upload it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I am going to work on some other contents that I have to do. Thank you all for watching, whether you're watching the live or the playback, and I'm going to end this now. Where is it?